One of the greatest and most hyped big man prospects in the history of the NBA made his much anticipated debut last night, and it went better than we could have even imagined. No, seriously, Victor Wembanyama, NBA debut, Dallas Mavericks, San Antonio Spurs, season opener. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, shit! Tony Brothers, what are you doing here? What are you doing, Tony? This game started out on a bit of a somber note as we learned that Jason Kidd has early onset dementia and thought that he was coaching last year's Mavericks team when they were tanking. What is this starting lineup? Derrick Jones Jr. and Maxi Kleber in the starting five? In case you were wondering how this group did, in the 4 measly minutes they shared the floor together before Jason Kidd mercifully pulled the plug on the whole entire experiment, they had a 90 offensive rating and a 163 defensive rating. So, yeah, it was a disaster. In this first quarter for the Mavericks, it gave a lot of us PTSD. It was terrible. Of course, Victor Wembanyama blocks the Dallas Mavericks' first shot of the game. Kyrie Irving pull-up elbow jumper. Wemby comes out of nowhere to block it. I thought, oh my God, we're about to witness the craziest fucking debut in the history of the NBA. But worse than that, it was some of the worst defensive effort you'll ever see from the Mavericks early on. Easy layup after easy layup after easy layup, uncontested, easy dunks. It was like a layup line. It really was a flashback to the horrible, horrible end of season play we saw from the team a year ago. But then something happened. No, someone happened. A young man by the name of Dereck Lively II checks into the game at the 6-minute mark. The Spurs have already scored 21 points in the first 6 minutes of this game. They would go on to score 23 points in the closing 6 minutes of the quarter, so still not good. But you can notice a shift, right? The easy layups were gone. The easy dunks were gone. Instead, what you saw were Jeremy Sohan contested threes with a hand in his face. Guess what? We'll live with that shot. You tip your cap. Jeremy Sohan shot 23% from 3 a season ago. We're cool with that shot. Devin Vassell, tough pull-up long twos. Those are shots you live with. In fact, from the moment Dereck Lively checked in to the end of the first quarter, the Spurs did not make a single layup at the rim. It was all contested shots, free throws, or threes. A quick little side note here. I want to give a shout out to Devin Vassell. 23 points last night on 17 shots. He was my dark horse most improved candidate a season ago. Unfortunately, he only played like 30-something games. With all of the eyes on Wembanyama this year, with how many games people are going to tune in to watch Victor Wembanyama, Devin Vassell is going to grab a lot of people's attention. He's going to take a lot of people by surprise. And hey, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. He kind of reminds me of Devin Booker in the mid-range. Just the amount of elevation he gets on his mid-range pull-up jump shots. How do you contest that? He's an absolute hooper, man. I love me some Devin Vassell. You heard it here first. So even though the Spurs went on to score 23 points in the closing 6 minutes of the quarter, the uptick in defensive intensity was noticeable, and it helped out the Mavericks through the remainder of the game. Despite the fact that they gave up 43 points in the first quarter, the Mavericks gave up 76 points combined the rest of the game. The Mavericks had a 98 defensive rating when Dereck Lively was on the floor. I mean, it was a masterful performance by the rookie. Contesting shots, deterring shots, going straight up, contesting shots without fouling, being active in passing lanes and having active hands. That led to turnovers late in the game that helped ice the game. I mean, the Mavericks won this game at the end with their defense. Stuff that you almost never hear me say. In fact, it's probably been years since you've heard me say that. Digging a little bit deeper than that, the Mavericks had an 85 defensive rating when Grant Williams and Dereck Lively were on the floor together. And I just want to talk about how incredible Grant Williams was last night. And this is a big reason why I was so vocal about going and getting a guy like Grant Williams, specifically Grant Williams, because of how tough he is defensively, how versatile he is defensively, and just how much of a dog he can be. If you watch the Spurs at all in the preseason, you've seen what other teams have done. That is put a forward on Victor Wembanyama and treat him like more of a perimeter player because that's how he plays offensively. So Grant Williams got the Wembanyama assignment for the majority of this game, and I thought he did a tremendous job. I mean, listen, Victor Wembanyama is going to hit threes with people right in his eyeball, okay? That's just what he's going to do. It's insane to watch. It's absurd to see. The Mavericks were lucky that he got into foul trouble. He only played 23 minutes because of foul trouble, and I have to say, most of these fouls were just stupid, legitimate fouls. Like, Wemby's really going to have to cut back on some of these horrific fouls. Did Wemby only playing 23 minutes stop ESPN from showing his box score even when he was not on the floor? No, of course not. They had his box score on the screen even when he wasn't on the court. It reminded me of when Zion was at Duke and they would show his box score in games that he was not even involved in. All in all, it was a great night for ESPN. The coach mic'd up segment that everyone just loves. We love hearing the coach scream into our eardrums when we're trying to enjoy the game.
Jason Kidd believing this basket should have been good.
Where's the rim? Tony Tony, he grabs the rim. He hits the rim.
Got this incredible graphic right here. David Robinson, do not jump into that water. Do not jump into that river, David Robinson. I once saw a homeless man shit into that river. Do not jump into that water. Anyways, Grant Williams on Victor Wembanyama. I thought he did a tremendous job just making life difficult for him. Even on the shots that he didn't contest, it was them getting the ball to Wembanyama in the post and Wemby just passing out immediately. That was something, like Wemby had no interest in post-ups. He had no interest in attacking a smaller player in Grant Williams. And one of the few times that he did, Grant Williams got a piece of the ball. And I don't know if they credited Grant with a block on this, but they should have. That's a block right there. Beyond just the defense, Grant dropped 17 points on 4 of 8 shooting from 3. And every point felt huge. Like every point came at a moment where it felt like the Mavericks desperately needed something. And every time they desperately needed something, Grant Williams was there. You have this sequence right here at the end of the first half. Devin Vassell hits a 3. It's a 12-0 run for the San Antonio Spurs. It's a 12-point game. It feels like, oh my God, this thing's kind of slipping if we don't stop the bleeding here before the end of the half. What happens? Grant Williams, in the span of 20 seconds, gets an and one, converts the free throw, and then hits a corner 3 to stop the bleeding. Boom, Mavericks go on an 8-0 run. They enter the half down 4 instead of down 12. Huge shift in the game. Fourth quarter, tie game, 8 minutes left. In the span of 20 seconds, Grant Williams gets an offensive rebound, finishes a layup off of a nice pass by Tim Hardaway Jr. Then the next possession hits a trailing 3. Boom, Mavericks up 5 in the span of 20 seconds. Those are the moments right there. Those are the things from Grant Williams that's really going to help this team this season. But just like Grant Williams impacted the game with both his defense and his offense, Dereck Lively did the same thing. We were sold on his defense, and we saw that on opening night. His defense was tremendous. As I mentioned earlier, the Mavericks had a 98 defensive rating when he was on the floor. That's very good. I don't give a shit if it was against the Spurs. That's very good. Offensively, would you believe me if I said Dereck Lively scored more points last night than he did his entire season at Duke? Because that's what happened. Dereck Lively, in his NBA debut, scored more points than he did his entire time at Duke. But he had 10 points in the third quarter. He scored 10 or more points 5 times at Duke the whole season. And he did that in the third quarter on 4-4 shooting. This pick and roll connection between him and Luka, I mean, it's going to be something serious. Just that vertical stretching ability, the ability to get up and catch a ball when it's in the rafters and throw it down. I mean, this is just going to be incredible. Paired next to, in my opinion, probably the best pick and roll ball handler in the entire NBA, the way that Luka dissects the defense. And even in plays where Lively's not catching a lob or in plays where Lively's not even getting a pass, you can tell. You can see how the defense is so concerned with Lively's ability to catch a lob. Here's a huge play in the game, and one. Luka, I mean, incredible de-acceleration, the ability to stop on a dime right there. But look at Zach Collins. He can't commit to this Luka Doncic drive because he's so concerned about Dereck Lively's presence, and that just leads to a wide open layup for Luka. And with Keldon Johnson on his back, that's an easy and one for Luka. He's going to convert that every single time. And it's going to be masterful with Kyrie as well. Kyrie threw Dereck Lively a lob off of a pick and roll, but I'm more interested in the Dereck Lively, Kyrie Irving dribble handoffs because Kyrie Irving is so dynamic. He's so crafty off ball that we're going to get a lot of opportunities like this play right here where Kyrie Irving gets a wide open 3 off a handoff because he just shook his defender. He missed the shot, but those are shots that we love to see. And we're going to see so many of those baskets. We're going to be feasting. Just look how happy Luka looks, man. Look how happy he looks next to Lively. I mean, when was the time? Like, when have we seen Luka like actively coach up a player like this on the floor and actively be like this into it with a player? When was the last time we've seen that?
I remember my first game, I was nervous. He didn't seem like being nervous, so he played fucking amazing. Sorry.
It's the first game. We're getting back into it. No worries.
I'm tired.
You're right, Luka. He did play fucking amazing. He was. Don't apologize. We never apologize. Yeah, you should. Hey, Luka, listen. I'll start a GoFundMe. We can collect $100 million for however much the fines are going to be. You should say fuck so much on TV when you're on ESPN that it causes the network to go out of business. Can we all get in on that? Is there a way we can make that happen? This is why I've been a bit higher on the Mavericks this summer than a lot of people, including Mavs fans, have been. It's because I understood the weaknesses with the team. Their interior defense last year was absolutely terrible. Another big defense they had was size. That's why I really like the Grant Williams addition and preventing guys from getting to the rim. Again, why I really like the Grant Williams addition. But it was rim protection and it was rebounding. And I thought, you know what? Dereck Lively, even though he is a rookie big, and those guys take a little bit of time to develop, but he's so good and talented right now that he could definitely help shore up some of these problems for the Mavericks. And if he can do that, it's going to really, really help this team. And we saw it already in night 1. I talked about his defense. I talked about his pick and roll stuff. He also had 10 rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds. The Mavericks out-rebounded the Spurs last night. They only out-rebounded their opponents 14 times in total last season. 14 times. You're 1/14 of the way there. With 81 games left, can you out-rebound your opponents 13 more times? That's all you need to do to be as good as last year's Mavericks team rebounding-wise. That's how pathetic it was. Another interesting little tidbit in the first quarter that I want to talk about here. Luka Doncic subs out of the game with 5 minutes left in the first. Now, I don't know how much we can look into this because Jason Kidd before the game did say that Luka Doncic's minutes, because of his calf injury, were going to be a little bit different than what we're used to seeing. But if this is something that they're going to, I've been crying about this for years. You need to understand how long I've been on my hands and knees begging for the Mavericks to get out of the Luka Doncic plays 12-minute quarters. I hate that minute structure. If this is what we're going towards, it's a big development because you saw it last night. Luka looks great, by the way. Luka looks so good in this game. And more importantly, in the fourth quarter of this game, Luka looked great. Like, he was locked in. He was ready to go. He played tremendous defense, damn near iced the game with his defense. And then he hit the disgusting dagger with Wemby in his face. That was just a classic Luka shot. But he looked so good in this game. And I have to wonder how much the minute structure plays a part in that. I think Luka just looks good, though. I think he took the offseason very serious. Conditioning-wise, he looks great. But the minute structure might have a case here. And that also might have led to the Mavericks getting out and moving the ball in transition more. 16% of their possessions last night were transition opportunities. That's not a huge number. That's about league average transition-wise. But for the Mavericks, that's a big jump. In Luka's 66 games last year, there was only 6 times they got out in transition that much. 6 times in 66 games, they do it on opening night. And they do it off of makes. They do it off of live rebounds. This is just something to keep an eye on over the course of the season. Hey guys, it's me, Slightly Biased. Just want to interject here to go over a few of the plays that I'm talking about here, a few of the transition opportunities I really liked last night, okay? Just to give you guys a better idea of what I'm talking about. This is the play that everybody was going crazy over. Everyone was Googling and gagaing. I don't even know if that's the phrase. Everyone was doing that over, right? This is Luka grabbing a rebound, pushing the pace, going coast to coast, downhill, getting a layup. If you were to tell me that Luka didn't have a single play like this last year, I would actually believe you. And these are the plays that I really, really like to see. And really, there's no reason why we can't see more of this. Luka's already such a great finisher. He's already so strong. He's already so good at playing through contact. You get him going downhill. He's already so much bigger than everybody else pretty much. You get him going downhill, it's going to be next to impossible to stop. This is a possession I really, really liked, okay? Let's get into it. Starts with a Devin Vassell air ball. I'll pretend I didn't see that. I have Devin Vassell agendas the push this season. All right, Mavs bring the ball up quickly. They get into an action immediately, right? Luka drives. It's not there. Kicks it out to Kyrie. Kyrie swings it to Maxey. Maxey drives. Defense doesn't do anything because they don't think Maxey's going to do anything. He won't. And then boom. Okay, so we're slowing the ball down. I like this because you can always slow the pace down. It's very difficult to speed it up mid-possession. So the Mavericks try to go quick. They try to get into something quickly. They rotate the ball around. They get the Spurs in rotation, and it wasn't there. So what does Luka do? He realizes, oh, I'm the best isolation player in the NBA. I'm just going to take you for a little dance here, Keldon Johnson, and I'm going to give it to you whether you want it or not. I don't care. You're getting it. That's what Hey guys, it's me, Slightly Biased again, interjecting on my own interjection. I realize that I worded that wrong, okay? Luka Doncic cares about consent. I don't want to make it come off as if he does not care about consent. Luka Doncic cares about. It's game one. It's against a team that we don't expect to be very good in the San Antonio Spurs. But there's a lot of things to build off of here. There's a lot of things to be excited about if you're the Dallas Mavericks. Your rookie center looks incredible. He looks good. He looks like he's going to have a huge immediate impact on your team. I mean, it was night and day when he was out there and when he was not out there. Are there going to be rookie pains? Of course there are. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be times where he has 5 fouls in 14 minutes, a la Victor Wembanyama. But you know what? You live with those. You have to. The Grant Williams edition, I've been telling you guys this all summer. The Grant Williams edition is going to pay dividends. That's going to be such a big addition for the Dallas Mavericks. You saw it in night one. Luka changed minute structure, in much better shape than he was at the start of last season immediately, moving the ball more, getting out in transition more, playing defense. Did he complain to the refs once in the middle of a play? I mean, that was incredible. He was incredible last night. That's something to build off of. Anyways, you tuned in last night for the Victor Wembanyama debut. Instead, you got the Dereck Lively debut. Remember the name. It's time to talk to your kids about Dereck Lively's Rookie of the Year campaign. It's an uncomfortable conversation. Sit them down. Sit down, little Johnny and little Deborah. Have that conversation with them. It's uncomfortable. Someone's got to do it.